We're getting us on YouTube, and then we'll begin. All right, we're live. YouTube, we're live here in person. Appreciate every one of you who's here actively. Um, this is probably going to be our last PayProZoom for a while. We'll probably do one a month, something like that. But there's no reason to do it every week because we're giving all the pro tips, all the trainings in the box, and there's a bunch in the YouTube. It's all fresh information. There's nothing that needs to be redone. So, with that, it's not because it's not important. It's because we just don't have any new things to talk about to pull all of you out of the field and to be here. When we have some other experts who have a pro tip, we'll do pro tip calls. We'll probably have a monthly or bi-monthly payment processing training. Maybe we'll go an hour long and just get into more stuff. Right now, it's all in the can already. So with that, if this is your first Zoom with us, well, obviously, you may or may not be aware that we have all of our training in our resource center. And then we have these daily pro tips where you can come on and ask questions from people who are experienced with the products or experienced in the industry. And we give little pro tips. They're not meant to be trainings, they're literally tips on what things you can do to improve. And but they're not a replacement for training. And that's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All of those, that is the same. So, with that said, the Thursday payment processing pro tip is the one that is the least needed because there's only so many things that can help. We're funding, there's changes every day. And if there's changes in PayPro, we'll give you the changes you need. Plus, it's just not our focus. We do have a partner, Elizabeth, who is helping on any new referrals, as well as Hugh and as well as NMI. And we've asked them if they want to participate by coming out and giving a pro tip periodically. And I'm sure we're going to be doing that. But for now, let's just talk today about what's the pro tip for today. And the most important thing that we can cover is if you can look at the residual income and you planting a seed for residual income, it's like growing a tomato plant. You get to pick from it. It keeps growing year after year after year after year after year. It's not a one-time thing. And if you put a seed in the ground for a annual, it comes back every year, right? Or perennial, I guess, is every year. Annual is one time, right? And you put some flowers out there, they look beautiful, but you never get anything again. That's our funding. You get a big harvest, but you never get anything in the future. Sometimes you get renewals. I mean, a lot of our clients do renewals. But with residual income and payment processing, you put it in, and you've got a burst of fruit every month for years. So the pro tip for today is a perspective thing. I'm encouraging all of you, and I'm witnessing it not happening. That's why I'm saying it. I'm encouraging all of you look at every one of your funding clients, applicants, approvals, declines as payment processing clients as well. And if you've reached out to 400 businesses about funding over the last however long, all 400 need to now find out about payment processing. It's a reason to reach out. Hey, by the way, I'm just reaching out to remind you we do funding. But today's email is to reach out because we have a secondary division called dual pricing payment processing. If for any reason you're not happy with the fees you're paying, we've got a whole division to help businesses alleviate those fees in a compliant way. If you'd like, we can put you in touch with our experts. That's it. Now, you got to do that part, but that's all you got to do. And then if they reply, yes, I'd like to know more, great. You can fill out their form for payment processing, right? And that fills out the lead. You want to get their bank statements, 1 month's payment processing or 2 month or 3 months payment processing. The more, the better. Get a better quote. And you can upload that. It's not a bank loan. Bank loans, they must fill out themselves and sign themselves. But a request for quote for payment processing, you can fill that out for them and arrange the call with the expert. You know, when they fill out that form, an expert's going to call them. right? One of our experts is going to call them. So a pivot pro tip is go to everybody, lead with funding, but go to everyone I've already approached for funding. And my reason for reaching out is just to mention our funding again, but the primary reason is to introduce you to a sister division we have, another division. You don't say, "Hey, I'm a funding and I'm payment processing," because it starts to seem a little bit like you're a jack of all trades and you're not going to be really good at any of them, right? So there's a sister division. If you'd like, I can get you in touch with one of our experts there. It's not my thing. It's not my primary thing at all. That's it. That's how simple it is. So my question to you then, or not my question, my challenge is, how do you add this to your funding outreaches? Well, keep in mind, this is a valuable reason to reach out to your future funding clients too. People you've already introduced funding to, you've introduced it, they didn't need it right now. This is a reason to reach out and remind them again of your funding. It's a valuable add on service. Just wanted to inform you of our sister division in case you have any frustration with your current fees. We've got a division that helps focus on alleviating those in a compliant way. If you'd like, I'd be happy to introduce you to one of those experts. If you're interested, just let me know. And by the way, we're always here if you ever need fuel to grow. So now you've had a reason to reach out to them: text, email, phone call. You've reminded them about funding again and without pestering them. You gave them a valuable add on. And now you may want to take some of the content from our payment processing training. You may want to say something like, here's some education about dual processing. I'm happy to answer you, but here's some compliant education, and copy and paste some of that training and post it right in the email. And you're giving them great information. Wow, this person, their division really is focused on this. You know, we do this in a compliant way. You can go further. You're a pro, you're a B2B pro. And if you're not one yet, you're becoming one, right? So that's the pro tip today, is another reason to reach out. You always are looking for reasons to reach out. Holiday, Juneteenth, banks are all closed, no funding today. Okay, how does that affect some of your clients? Some of your clients, it affects them today. Maybe it's a good idea to reach out to those because it affects them today and say, hey, I hope you're enjoying your day off, because it's a federal holiday and they deal with that business. I don't know. Hopefully you're this or that. Hopefully you had a great Father's Day. Hopefully you had a great Mother's Day. Hopefully you had a great Grandparents' Day. Whatever the reason is, every month there's another reason to reach out to your clients and mention again the funding. Payment processing is a reason to reach out to all your funding clients. Okay. And if you're leading with payment processing, which we encourage you lead with funding, because there's a lot more harvests and there's a lot more, the ground is ripe for harvest and funding more than payment processing. So we say start there, but don't stay there. Start there, don't stay there. Start there, don't stay there. Start there, don't stay there, and then move into the payment processing, because you can still get a flowering tomato plant there that you make money on every month. It may not be a giant harvest for the whole town, but it's a great, it helps them and it helps you, right? So stay there. I'm sorry, start there, don't stay there. And you got to have a reason to reach out about payment processing. So that's it for today, but challenge yourself. I'm challenging myself. This is where it came from. I'm thinking, I got to do more reach outs to my funding clients about the payment processing. Okay. I got to do that. And you do too. We all do. We don't have to. None of us have to do anything, but it's wise that we do. Okay, so next Thursday, there will not be a payment processing Zoom. We may fill it in with something else, but right now, going forward, Thursdays until further notice, there will not be an 11:30 a.m. Zoom. This will be the last one. We mentioned this last week. We didn't even think there'd be one this week, but because we haven't made that notice out to everyone, I decided to be here and do this final one. We're not pivoting away from payment processing. It's just our focus is funding, and we're not going to waste your time with things. And there's a reason we don't do healthcare anymore. There's enough healthcare ones on the website. You can get it there on the DAC YouTube page. You can get it at the HealthShare site. You can get what you need there. to be a professional B2B person. We're funding, and we may even move funding to a more of a Q&A session so there's more value. You can only say the same pro tips so many times, right? So um, we're excited on where we're going, and we're excited on what's going on with the LMS, excited about what's happening with our payment processing partnerships. So get out there and serve those clients. What questions have you got or comments from anybody? And while we're waiting, Sharon Morgan, I don't know if you see anything in the chat room, but tonight we have Nicholas DeHame and Wade Cordell doing the business overview again. It's going to be a great overview. So it's a good opportunity to refer some people. I hear someone coming through in the chat. Someone have a question?
Yes, we had a question from Leslie, and
Okay.
she's asking uh, if we can give us some guidelines who to contact, refer to Elizabeth or Hugh.
For right now, new clients, if it's over 10,000, it'll be Elizabeth. If it's under 10,000, it's the NMI team, which is a whole group. Okay. So under 10,000, it's always NMI, and they've got a different group who reaches out. Over 10,000 right now, it'll be Elizabeth. On new fundings. Any that were already submitted prior will still be Hugh. So, but there's always other people too on both of their teams who may reach out. So you don't want to say for certain it's this person, but you can say, I'll introduce you with one of our experts. It's probably going to be Elizabeth in this case for you. Or if the team is size, the revenue is small, it'll be someone from our payment processing team. I'm not sure which one. We've got several experts. Just say it that way, and that way you're protected. Great question, Leslie.
We do have a hand up. Lumen
Okay.
Agency Digital, you can go ahead and unmute yourself.
Great. I'm going to get my name up there, I promise. Hey, I meant to ask this yesterday in team building, and so sorry if it's off topic. Do we have any sample ads or any kind of good ads? I was going to post some. I just joined the chamber. They have a job board. There's local stuff, and I just want to have something out there working for me when I'm sleeping.
Yeah, we're going to have it by Tuesday. We actually have a couple. We're just waiting for legal approval on
Oh,
that protects you and protects us.
okay, cool.
Yeah, we've got a couple Craigslist ad type things. In the interim, if you just what we're seeing is funding broker is the title, B2B experience, helpful but not required, full
Okay,
training provided, 100% commission. As long as those points come across, then they know I can add it to my portfolio already. It can be an add-on if I'm already in B2B, or
right.
it can be a new career if I've never been in B2B. But they need to know it's 100% commission. It can't be implied that it's a job with a salary. That's
Got
the
it.
that's the other thing. Okay. Great
Right.
question. But you will have one. It's not as easy to do as we'd hoped because there's different states and different rules in each state, and it's just taking a little longer. Great question, though. Is that it for everybody? All right. Hey, tonight it's a good night for a new guest. It's a good night for a new guest or two. Who do you want on your roster? If you just had five brokers, just five brokers who get a couple clients a month. I'm working on a plan right now. I know this, I'm transitioning to funding real quick. 40 business owner conversations a week should equal one application a week. So that means if you have 40 every week, you should have one funding a month because we figure about 60% of our applications become funded, 56 to 60%. If they're all core rate, it's more like 65 to 70% become funded of the applicants because over 80% accept the offer and over 80% get approved. So leading with core rate requirements, you should get about 65 to 70% of your applicants are funded, take the money, and you get paid. So that would mean 1.2 fundings a month if you had 40 conversations a week. So the 40 for 4 plan is just 40 business owner conversations a week for 4 weeks. You should have 2 fundings a month. Now that's not full-time income. Some it is. Some that might be full-time income, but you'll average a few $1,000s of funding. So, you end up making, 5,000 a month with that scenario. So it's a great add-on. Some people say, I need more than 5,000. Okay, then your number 40 for 4 maybe becomes a 40 a day instead of 40 a week for 4 weeks. Maybe it's 40 a day for 4 days. You should have a funding, right? And Obviously, I'm talking about business owner conversations, not emails. How many of those even get read, right? And not just text, but conversations, engaged leads. Go back to last Friday's training about leads, and engaged leads are once they're engaged, then some of them become ready. That's the engaged, 40 engaged leads. Boom. They've heard the conversation. You're in. One out of every 40 will apply. When you first start, it'll be a lot more than that. But if you're doing that, and then you have a team of 5 duplicating that, just getting one funding a month, 1 to 2 fundings a month. Just a personally enrolled team of 5 getting 1 to 2 fundings a month. You're making, and you're getting 1 to 2, you're making 10 grand a month. Just with a team of 5 getting 1 a month and you getting 1 a month, you're making 10 grand a month on our average numbers. Now you say, well, I'm not getting rich, but that's a living. That's a nice living. Now it takes activity, it takes effort, but it's only 5 brokers personally enrolled getting 1 funding a month and you getting 1 a month. I mean, it's not crazy. With our average funding at 80 grand, that's our core rate product. It's obviously it's not easy, but it's simple, right? So, and then when you add the payment processing on that we're talking about today, you pivot to payment processing. You don't stay on funding, you start with funding, and then you pivot over to PayPro. You're going to get maybe 1 out of 40 of those who say, yeah, I'm frustrated with my thing, or maybe 5 out of 40 are going to say, I'm frustrated with my processing. So you start with funding, educate them, have a reason to reach out. Oh, by the way, we've got a sister division. Are you pleased with your fees? Have you ever thought about dual pricing? We might be able to help you. You're going to get someone who, yeah, I want to know more. You're going to get some who say, yeah, I want to know more. So lead with go for 40 for 4 weeks. You should have a funding or 2. And then you've got 160 people you can reach back to about payment processing. You should get 4 or 5 of them to say, yeah, I want to know more or more. And away you go. It's as simple as simple does. God bless you all. We'll see you tonight. Help